So let's talk about the abdominal curl, because that's the big one. That's the one lots of people want to do in an effort to get the six-pack, which we know is not going to happen from an abdominal curl. But there is a public perception about that. And unfortunately, us in the fitness industry also help support it, because we keep encouraging our participants to do curls. Curls are really bad for people with pelvic floor weaknesses. There's lots of challenges. But if you want to go there and you want to teach it, let's do it properly. And the first thing to think about is pelvic floor first. So the first thing you ask your clients to do is lie on their backs and take their feet further away. Because what normally happens with an abdominal curl is this. Feet in nice and close. Watch my midsection. I'm going to do in a curl. I'm going to go up. And did you see that big rise? Let me show you again. And I'm holding my breath, which is what a lot of clients tend to do. Even if they know how to breathe out, they'll do it like this. But they still let it blow out, and now everything's pushing down against my pelvic floor. Lungs filled with air, pressing down that diaphragm, everything being pushed out and down. So the challenge here is, how do you teach it correctly? First of all, get the legs out. Because one of the things that we do appreciate with pelvic floor is that it activates better when your spine is in neutral. So we need to get that neutral spine. It's very difficult to do that when your feet are nice and close. So take the feet out and extend the legs out. And what you want is the clients to have a arch in their lower back. Ask them to place one hand underneath their lower back so they can feel that arch. I'll do it with my other hand so you can see my fingertips here. And what you do is you ask them to lift pelvic floor first. So use those analogies that you're aware of. So stop yourself from weighing and farting. Think about lifting up sucking up a thick shake. Lift the pelvic floor away from the world. Sometimes I use that analogy. Pull it up away from the world. So you ask them to lift their pelvic floor. So lifting pelvic floor. Then the next thing you want them to do is breathe out, because we know breathing and pelvic floor work very much in sync together. So you want to lift pelvic floor and breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. You may see my tummy just drops down a little bit, and that's what you want to see. If you're seeing any sort of bulging, you know that they're not lifting appropriately. Then the next thing is you add the head lift. Now you should see absolutely no motion here, but you should still see the curve in the lower back, or they should feel no pressure coming down to their hands. So I'll just keep my hands away so you can see the arch in my lower back. I'm going to lift pelvic floor. I'm going to breathe out and it should still be flat. Come back down and relax. So have a look at the lower back. I'm going to do it again. And come back in. And come back down. So there's a lifting of the pelvic floor, drawing in of the transverse, lower back maintains its normal curve, and you're exhaling. That's a lot to think about. And when you have pelvic floor weakness, it's not going to be instinctive. You almost have to go back and relearn. The question you need to ask yourself is, should you have that exercise in your class if you've got a lot of people that fall in the pelvic floor risk population group? Your mid-morning classes definitely would be that population group. Certainly your evening classes, and also would depend on the age of your clients. So I've personally stopped doing abdominal curls, one, because it's really hard to reteach, and personally I prefer the plank version of this type of exercise because it helps them focus a little bit better. But the other reason is, you know, you want people to be successful, you want people to be able to achieve. People also want to feel like they're getting something out of the exercise, and because this is such a staged process and it does take a lot of relearning, a group exercise format may not be the most appropriate place to redo this.